Hello everyone. Today we're going to walk through MiTeam meetings, and we'll start off directly in MyClab. So here I am in MyClab version 9.1, and over on the left side you might notice that there's a new button, and that's the meetings button. So I'm going to start by clicking that button, and it's going to cross-launch MiTeam meetings. And you'll notice it pops up, and the first thing you might notice is you've got some information at the top. So there you can see my login information. I can log out, I can get some help, I can submit some issues if there are any. You'll also notice, let me make this a bit larger, you'll see the meeting list. So these are all past meetings that I've had and recurring meetings as well. So if I click on, let's say the top one, you'll see this is my weekly dev sync. And this is an ongoing meeting that happens every week. You can see the persistent chat is still available. So anything that might have happened in the past for any of the other meetings is still available for me to come back and review, including attachments, and will be available after the meeting. So the persistent chat remains before, during, and after each meeting. As a summary here, you can see who was invited and who was attended. I can click up here and I can change the title if I wanted to. I can click on this little notepad and I can see some more information. If I want to copy this link, I can copy this link and send it to another colleague if they need to join the meeting. Also, if this persistent chat had been ongoing for a few months, there might be several different attachments that were sent over time, and I need to find one specific attachment, but I don't want to browse through the entire conversation. Now, this particular conversation is a short one, but if I click on this attachments button here, I'll get a summary of all the different files that were attached since this meeting started, since the chat first started. So I can access them that way. I also have some more information here, quick hyperlink if I wanted to copy the link here, or dial in information for myself, or if I needed to copy it and send it to a colleague. I also have the ability to join the meeting instantly. If it was coming up, I can find it from my list, hit the join button and jump right in. More on that in a little bit. But I can continue to browse through my different meetings over here, find the one that I might need, or if I need to start a new meeting, I can do that by simply clicking start now. And what this does, you'll see I get new title bar information, so I can change this to whatever I need. Maybe this is a monthly design sync, so I can go ahead and call it that. I can save it for a later time. I can save and jump into the meeting right away. I can copy it and send it to a colleague. Again, I've got all this dial-in information and the web link there. I'm going to cancel this for now. I'm not going to jump into that just yet. If I go to schedule, then you'll see it's the same idea. I can schedule my monthly design sync. I can search for participants and include them in the call. I can decide which way I'd like to prepare this. So if I want to download an ICS file, I can simply download the ICS file. I'll open it up and it'll bring it up in my Outlook calendar, where I can continue to play around and edit, modify it, schedule it for the time that it needs to be at, include more people, etc. Let's go back and let's join a meeting quickly. I just want to show you what it's going to look like at the very beginning. So when we first join, we're going to be hit with a preview screen, and this is where we're able to select our devices. So there I am, hello. I can choose different cameras. In this case, I do have two webcams, so you can see two angles. There we are. Go back to my main camera, that's directly head on, and then I've got my different audio devices that I can choose, or if I prefer to dial in, I can dial in. I'm not going to join this meeting just yet. We're going to move on to the next thing to talk about, and we'll be joining a meeting shortly. So with the meeting list here, as I mentioned, if I keep scrolling, it'll keep loading more meetings that I've had. It is a persistent meeting list, so they'll continue to load as I find them. I can also search. So if there was something that I needed to find, whether it was design or dev, or I can search by the title, or I can search by the person. So I've got several meetings here that I've had with Mona. I can find those quickly with the search. Let's go back to MyClub, and let's go to our MiTeam section here, which you might be familiar with as our streams. So what we've got here is a existing topic-based stream chat. And what I can do, I can simply click on the little drop down here and hit the video meet button. And this will send me directly into a meeting. It'll cross-launch a meeting, and it'll give everybody in this particular group the meeting request as well. So if I go ahead and click that, you'll see MiTeam meetings is cross-launched. I am just going to warn everybody so they don't join. And I'll jump back here, and there we are, we're in the preview screen again. Once again, I can make some changes to my audio and video devices, and then once I'm ready, I can jump right into the meeting. Again, I'm not going to do that right away. We'll just wait for 1 second before we jump into a meeting. Come back to MyClab, and there are some other ways that we can do an immediate cross launch. So if I come into a chat, for example, and let's say I'm talking to Paul, so we can go through some content. Hey, Paul, I have a question. Let's just meet. And just to let them know this is a test. Once again, I can click on the little dots here, hit the video meet button, and it's going to fire up an instant meeting that Paul will be able to access. You can see back in MyClab, he has the link just right there. And I'm back in my preview pane preparing to join the meeting, making sure all my devices are what they need to be. I'll back out one more time, and we'll talk about another option for cross-launching MiTeam meetings, and that's through a group chat. So here I am in a group chat. There are 5 people in the chat, including myself, so 6 people, including myself, and we need to jump on a call. So you can see Aditi's got some questions for me. There's actually quite a few questions happening. So let's just jump into a call. It's going to be much easier for us to discuss. So why don't I fire up the meeting once again? And this time it's not a one-on-one chat. It's actually a group chat between myself and 5 other colleagues, and everyone's going to get the same message to go ahead and join the meeting. This time I am going to join the meeting. So here I've selected my camera, I've got my proper headset, and I'm going to go ahead and join the meeting. Give that a second while it loads. And there we are. Now I'm the first person to join. So the first thing that happens, if you ever join a meeting on your own, the first thing that's going to happen is, hey, you're in here alone. Do you want to invite anybody? So I'm going to close that out, and you'll see everyone's jumping in. So I think everyone can hear me now. Hello, everyone. So we've got Paul and Ian so far, and up in the right corner, you'll notice that Aditi is in the waiting room, and this is the lobby experience. So Aditi has joined as a guest. She's not a particular user, or she's not a user in this particular account, and this could be a real life example, could be a customer that you're meeting with, anybody external that doesn't have an account for them to join. So in this case, if I accept this user, she'll then get a message on her end saying that she's been accepted and she's now able to join. So she'll be joining momentarily. And while we're waiting for that, I'll point out in the bottom left corner, oh, there's Aditi now. Hello, Aditi. In the bottom right corner now, you'll see a phone number. And this is, I believe Ian has called in from a PSTN dial-in. And this is just to show that you don't have to join with a webcam and web audio. If you're in your car at the airport, you can dial in with those phone numbers that we saw earlier associated with each meeting. And we can also see our other colleague, Keanu, is waiting to jump into the lobby. So I'm going to go ahead and accept him in. And he'll go through the same experience as Aditi. He'll be able to join now that I've let him in. So here we are, we're in the meeting. Down at the bottom, you'll notice you have all the basic controls that one would expect within a meeting. I can hang up, I can turn my camera off and on, I can mute myself, which I'll briefly do. You'll still hear me because I'm not muting myself to you, I'm muting myself to the folks on the call. So if I go ahead and unmute myself, everyone can hear me again. I can also hit the share screen button if I wanted to share a specific application, if I wanted to share a desktop, or maybe even a specific tab in my browser. And we saw this earlier when I first joined the call. I can invite a participant. So if there was somebody that needs to be here that isn't already here, the easiest way for me to do it could be to just look them up here. This is Mona. If I include Mona and invite her, she'll get an email and a message within MyClab asking her to join this call. I can also just simply copy this to clipboard, the meeting invite, and paste it within a chat conversation I might already be having with her in MyClab. I'll close that out. I'll jump over to the settings. And here we have the video and audio settings as we already saw in the preview pane. So again, I can make adjustments to this should I have to. I can already also jump over here, excuse me, and report a problem. This is something that you'll see common early in our first few releases as we're still stabilizing the product, but you're able to report a bug or submit a feature. If you have an idea for the product, you can submit that as well. And clicking on About also gives you some links to help, privacy policy, EULA, etc. One thing I'll point out before we jump over to the chat is the bottom right side, you've got the toggle mode to toggle video modes. If I go ahead and click that, it goes to active speaker. So right now it's highlighted on Ian, but if, let's say, Paul, can you say something just to take over the active speaker square? There we go. So you can, thank you, Paul. You can see it jumped over to Paul, and it doesn't jump over immediately. It takes about a split second, and that's by design so that if people are having a conversation back and forth, it's not quickly flashing in your face. So we've tried to make it as natural as we could. I'll jump back into the video tile mode, and we'll head on over to the bottom left side where we're looking at the chat. So clicking on the chat bar, this is also, excuse me, this is also a persistent chat. So if this were to be a recurring meeting that happens every week, every month, whatever it may be, this chat information and the files associated with them will always remain. And as we saw in the app previously, this is the same persistent chat that we're going to see from the default menu bar. So we can access this before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. Clicking on the little dots up in the corner of the chat, I'll get the info tab. And again, this just gives me the connect information if I want to share to somebody else and the PSTN dial-in information. So a second place you can find that. I can also click this and select the files button, and that will once again take us to the summarized view of all the attachments in case there were several different attachments happening with multiple conversations and you don't want to browse through everything. So I'll go ahead and close this chat and I'll wave goodbye to my colleagues. We'll continue on with the demo. So thank you, everyone. And Paul, I'll be calling you shortly to speak with you in a moment. So I'll hang up this call and we'll go back into MyClub. Now that we're back at MyClub, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna call Paul. So I'll do that from my desk phone here. And I just wanna show you that when I'm in a call on MyClub, you'll notice that it takes up half of the MyClub screen as we're used to seeing. What's new here is this cross launch button. So hitting this screen share cross launch button is going to automatically, as you might expect, cross launch MiTeam meetings. And that takes us into a screen share. So I might already be on a call with Paul. We might be talking about something and it might be just easier for me to show him what I'm talking about. And there I am again, hello. So what I can do is I can simply jump on that call and then I can start screen sharing. And I might decide to screen share my screen, or I might decide to screen share something else. But the idea is that I don't have to hang up the existing audio call that I had with Paul in order for me to screen share. I can continue to have the existing audio connection and include screen share without any interruption. And that pretty much sums up the brief summary that I had for MiTeam meetings. Happy to answer any questions. Let us know. Thank you.